fans, you finally get to see what I look like. It's a bit of a scary sight, I know, but I was going to do, there's an ad in Australia that's, you know, I can't show my face because I'm a dentist. Those of you that know that ad, I've kind of breached that rule. I'm clearly not a dentist. And nor am I going to be doing a cooking show in my kitchen. The reason that we're here is because I did do some detecting this morning down at the beach. Didn't really find anything that was that good. A couple of small coins and a silver earring. And today the temperature is going to be 37 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm and very windy. So I decided that I'd share a story. This video is actually about water ingress in the Equinox series metal detectors. And I know that there's lots of videos about the early machines, the 600s, I think were the culprit, and possibly the 800s. Going back about 2019, they did have some manufacturing issues and people did have units that swamped. This video has got nothing to do with that at all. This is something that's a little more unusual, and it affects all of the Equinox series, right through the very early ones and right through to the 900s, which is what this one is here, is a 900. And it also will affect the Xterra Pro series, the new series, which are also very, very good. My story is that I decided to buy some waterproof headphones. I got these from Miner's Den here in Adelaide. I think if you're going to buy a metal detector, Miner's Den anywhere in Australia is the place to shop. I know that you can buy metal detectors now through a lot of sports stores and various other well-known places that I'll leave nameless. But the price point is so close between them all that I really do urge that you buy them from Miner's Den, and mainly because of the sort of backup, the expertise. When something does go wrong, it generally doesn't. These machines are very reliable, but it is good to know that you've got a company that does nothing but Minelab products, and they will back you up. And you know, I've found the local office here in Adelaide, the gentleman in there, Bruce, to be extremely helpful, not only in any issues that I might have or misunderstandings or just general information about how to use my metal detector in my local area and how to get the best results out of my machine. Really, his advice has absolutely leaped me into just going out, finding the odd item here and there to better understanding, and the results have been, you know, just so different. But that's not what this is about either. It's not about advertising. I had an issue where I went to the beach for my very first time operating in the water. I bought these headphones. They are a Minelab waterproof headphone, and they come with the special plug on the end that has the waterproofing that you need for these units. And as you know, to actually put a set of headphones in, whether they be waterproof or anything else, we undo this little seal, this little cap here, which also seals this unit from water ingress, so that we can then plug in these headphones and we screw that up nice and snug, and that stops the water from getting in. I want to just make a note at this point, and that is that this particular socket in here is actually waterproof, and that meaning that if you get water into the socket, it will not ingress into the main unit of the machine. So if you did forget to put that cap on and for some reason you got water in it, it's unlikely that you're going to go and put this in water unless you are using headphones, because you can't hear them once they go under water. But you know, maybe rain, maybe you drop it, maybe whatever. But yeah, if water does get in there, you can blow it out with an air blower. And then you can use some contact cleaning spray, which you can buy from electronic shops or Bunnings or hardware stores if you're not in Australia. And that will clean the water out and stop any corrosion. So it is protected internally. It's not ideal to get water in there, especially not salt water, because it will corrode the contacts in there and give you grief. But if you're onto it pretty quick, you know, you can solve that problem easily, and it won't damage your machine, because these are a sealed unit, so you don't really want anything going wrong with them. They're not very repairable internally. So that leads up to my story. So I bought these headphones and I did all of these, the sensible things. I put my headphones onto my unit when I'm in my van at the car park. That way I don't have any risk of sand getting in here or there. That means the little O-ring in there will stay clean and will seal properly. You don't want grit or anything in there. I did all of those sorts of things. Went and had a really great time. It worked faultlessly. And I did find a silver ring, by the way. I came back to my van and I unplugged it all and everything looked all perfectly fine and dry, and I fitted my end cap in as you do straight away, like so, and tightened it all up and didn't think any more of it. Thought that I'd been a good little soldier and done everything you should do. About 4 or 5 days later, I went out with my friend Ian. We went to a park and I was using my Bluetooth headphones, so obviously I don't need to touch that. And everything was all right for a little while, and then I started to get the sound dropping out from my headphones, and I couldn't really work out why. So I decided that I would turn my headphones off and I should then get sound out of this. And I didn't. There was no sound out of this at all, and my headphones were completely turned off. The interesting part is that the headphone symbol was still lit up on the screen, and I couldn't turn that off. And hence I got no sound. The unit thought it had a set of headphones connected somewhere or another, and it wouldn't allow me to hear sound. So that was a bit of an issue. So fortunately enough, I live in Adelaide, and MindLab is here in Adelaide, actually just about a kilometre away from my house. So I decided to pop down there, and they were extremely supportive, very, very helpful, and they took it in to have a look. And my thoughts were that the actual switch inside of the plug itself was faulty, and they would replace my unit. That didn't happen. They called me to pick it up, and the report was that they'd found a small amount of water inside of that plug, in the socket rather, which I had seen no evidence of, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't believe the story. And I was nice to the lady, and it's not her fault at the counter. I just said, look, I don't agree with the verdict on this one, and I'll probably see you again after Christmas. And I left, and the unit seemed to work fine. During the Christmas break, I decided to do another water session. And as you could well imagine, because I've had this issue occur, I'm going to be extra mindful now of how I go about operating this in a wet environment. So I did what I did before. I removed this. I screwed in my headphones in my van where it's a nice clean environment. I made sure everything was clean. There's nothing there to stop it. Put it in, tightened it all up, etc. And I went about doing my water thing at the beach, and everything operated seamlessly, perfect, and that time I didn't find anything, but there you go. It all worked beautifully well, and got back to the van, and I got a cloth and I dried all of the unit before unplugging the headphones, and made sure it was all dry. Most of it was dry anyway by the time I walked on a hot day from the water line at the beach. I undid this, and the first thing I did was have a look to see if I had any moisture or water. I didn't. It was perfectly clean and clear. And then I looked up inside the socket. I had no water in there, so I was very happy. And I went about putting the cap back in again, as you do, tightening it up and making sure that that seals all nice and tight, because it seals with that little rubber piece, as you know, that holds it in place so you don't lose it. And that was that. And about a day or so, maybe 2 days later, I returned to the beach, but not in the water. I was just doing some dry sand operations, and everything seemed to be all right. And then all of a sudden, I lost the sound again. And I thought, here we go. It's exactly what I thought. I've got a faulty socket. I'm going straight back in now to MindLab and go and see them. So I went straight into MindLabs. The lady remembered me. I said, it's playing up again. She said, I'm going to get the technician to come out. He came out. I know this is a long story. Sorry about that, guys, but it is important, this. The technician came out and had a discussion with me. I told him that I didn't agree with his last thing. I think it's the socket, and he started to think that maybe that was the case. He said, I did find water in there though. So in front of me, he undid this cap, and when he opened it up, water came out and fell onto the table. And there was clearly water in it. And I was absolutely gobsmacked, because how could there be water in it when I had just last time I used it, I undid everything, I checked everything, there was no moisture, no water, no nothing, it was completely dry, and all I've done since then is operated in a dry area of the beach. There has been no water that I can possibly think of to get in there. And it can't come from anywhere else, so it's only from the socket. So they decided they would take it, check it, pressure test it. They took my headphones, the lot, they took it down to 1 atmosphere of pressure, that's 33 feet, and did all of those sorts of things. And I got the report back, which I have, that said that there is no water entering through that socket with this on or with headphones on. And he was kind of a bit gobsmacked as to how I could possibly have got water in there. The problem is I've got a technician who, you know, he understands how it all works, and he's sort of doubting what I say, so I'm feeling like an absolute fool that I've done something stupid when I believe I've done everything perfectly right. But in the discussion, he was a fairly intelligent person, and I came up with a theory that I thought it was, and we actually played around with that theory to realise that it is actually what's happened. And he's given me a couple of spare ones, so I'm able to show you what it's all about. So I'm hoping that this is close enough. I can't see the screen. This is the cap. This is a brand new one. And if you can see in there, it's hollow in the centre. Now what happens is that's swinging around on the back of your metal detector in the water with your headphones plugged in. That's still in the water, hanging on the back here. What happens is that fills up with seawater. And because the holes are so small, the surface tension of the water is very high. And the water doesn't come out. It stays in there. So when you get back to your vehicle and you unplug the headphones and you plug your socket back in, this is full of water. And the water comes out of there because you've sealed that. It's a sealed section. Now when there's any temperature variation, that will pump that water out of that cap into your socket. And so the problem with that also is if you're not aware that that's happened, if I'd have put my unit in storage for 3 months, that would have been the end of the socket and probably not a warranty claim. And to prove that that's true, this is this one, but over here I have one which has got water in it, and hopefully it'll do it. If I turn that upside down, that water doesn't come out. It's still in there. It's still in that cap. So you go walking around and that water remains in that cap, and you are completely unaware that that's happened, and you put that into the back of this unit when you unplug your headphones, and that's where the water ingress comes from. And I can show you there's water in there because if I flick it out, it's wet. But it takes a reasonable amount to get it out of that socket. So that just sitting there when you're carrying your metal detector isn't enough to empty that of water. I think, to be honest, to expect people to pick up on something like that is, unlikely that most people would think about that. I obviously didn't initially. Personally, I think it's a design fault, and it's something that I've had a discussion with them at Minelab, and apparently they're going to take it to the engineers to see whether that can be altered or whether it's worth altering. Whether they do or not, I have no idea. There is a simple solution. On mine, if you can see, I'll just move those headphones out of the way if you can actually see that close enough. I've filled mine up with silicone and then made sure I've wiped it so it's completely level and flat with the end of this cap, and then let it dry. And now there is no way I can ever get water collecting in that cap to then damage my socket. So it's a real simple fix. They should be solid, and that wouldn't happen. And it's how water gets in the socket. And I wonder how many people believe that they've got water from other areas and not picked up on that. I did Google this to see if anyone else had had this issue through the Equinox range. I haven't found anything on Google at all. Whether that's just I couldn't find anything or not, so I just thought I'd post this video. I thought it would be possibly helpful to others so they didn't unnecessarily damage their machine with something that's, completely odd, really. So there it is. So I always felt that I would do nothing but show my fun times metal detecting. I've just started these videos, but I just thought this was really important. So I thought I'm going to do the thing where I stand in front of the camera and explain this because I think it could be helpful, and I hope it has been to you, and maybe you're never going to have to report or take your machine in with any sort of water damage. You can help me now. I'm fairly new to this. I hope to do a few more videos and get better at them, but I need people to like my videos, and if you have got a login on YouTube, subscribing will be even better. That will keep you up to date with my next lot of videos, and it kind of helps to get my videos noticed, and yeah, I would really appreciate you did that for me, and I hope to see you, or you see me, on the next video, which hopefully will be detecting and not talking about issues with these units. They're very good units. I'm so happy with all of mine. I've had a 600, I've now got the 900, and I've got the Xterra Pro. I've had Go Finds, I've had 22s, 44s and a 66. I've liked all of the Minelab products. They're well made, and seriously, if you live in Australia, why wouldn't you support an Australian product? They're designed here in Mawson Lakes by Coden. They're an Aussie product, they're our product, and support them. I know there are lots of other brands, and I'm sure they're good detectors, but you've got the local backup, and you're helping to employ local people. So yeah, stick with the machines that are designed to be used here in this country, and I know they also have the programming done for other terrains all over the world. They're a very good detector, and I highly recommend them. Thanks again for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you on the next session. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.